So, this is Daily Diary 38. I think we're on now. Um, I'm struggling as always today and this week. I am living in this limbo where, on the one hand, I know that I'm rich and that I'm famous and that, like the world is my oyster, as they say in France. Um, and, on the other hand, I'm stuck in this false reality created by Jim Fuckwick to soothe his fragile little ego. And the thing about that, too, is that, I've never experienced being rich. So I've always lived, as a working class person, except for when I was a kid, when I was living with my parents still. But, I moved out of my parents' house when I was like 21 or whatever it was. I got married when I was 22. Uh, I've always been just looking for a job, going to school, trying to make it, make that happen, make my writing career happen, maybe being a teacher, always just living kind of as an artist, trying to make it, just trying to make money. Um, and so I have this, instinct, this drive to just get a job, you know what I mean? Just bring money in. Like, I really miss that a lot. I really miss just bringing money in, getting a paycheck, working for a paycheck and getting a paycheck. Um, but, I, first of all, I really trust Stanley, and Stanley keeps telling me not to do that I shouldn't do that. I don't need to do that. um and I'm trying to really move toward the reality and not the false reality, really move away from the false reality. But it's difficult. It's difficult. Today, instead of applying for jobs, I'm reading this, um which is just depressing me to be honest. They're talking in where I am right now about how, really this economy that we find ourselves in now, this world of America that we find ourselves in now, really began in the 80s. I mean, you can go back to the flood, as Judge Judy says, but, really, like, Reagan kind of ushered in this winner take all economy, as they call it in the book. He helped companies get rid of unions. Anyway, and really just an economy that rewards the top 1%, is what largely contributed to, gender inequality in the workplace, in the workforce. And I feel like what happened to me was part of a developing pattern of sex discrimination, and kind of also, like, women moved into the workforce more like in the 70s, 60s, 70s. I think there's always going to be a period where, the people who have the position of power, men, in this case, are going to really fight back against when they start seeing equality happening. They're really going to fight back, and I think that's part of it too. um this insistence that women are incompetent and incapable and whatever, whereas men are in general okay. Like, you guys are wired to just conquer everything. And that's not ever proved to be a terribly successful strategy in the long term. In the short term, it always is. You get maybe sometimes really great rewards for it, like this, the stock market. Um, but in the long term, then you have crashes like the 2008 crash, if we're talking about the stock market specifically, but just in general, like, the winner take all thing has, resulted in huge level dehumanization and oppression and war and, disease and starvation and all kinds of awful things. And I'm not saying that either sex should be dominant. We just want equality, you guys. We just want the same thing that you have. We just want, our equal rights. We want our human rights. That's it. We're not asking for anything special. Anyway, so that's what I am focusing my attention on today, I suppose. I feel like there was, oh, well, on a very personal note, there was the shit monster yesterday, last night, when I started eating dinner. uh, it was like just as I was sitting down and starting to eat dinner, he started the intestinal cramps, and at first they were like subtle, and then I took breaks from eating because it was obviously very unappetizing, and then I would get a break from it. So I went, and I was only having like, a burger with lettuce and frozen vegetables for dinner. It's not like I was having an enormous dinner. Um, anyway, I got through dinner, and it was, I don't know, it was within a half hour anyway after I'd finished eating that he really started doing really intense intestinal cramps, like continuously. And then I had to run into the bathroom, and I was in there for like maybe half hour, 40 minutes. I just stayed in there because I was like, I'm not going to go out just so he can send me right back in. You know what I mean? And my left leg was completely asleep by the time I came out of there. I love giving you guys these graphic details. Don't you love it? Um, and then, he kind of continued the intestinal cramps mildly after that for a couple hours, and then stopped for a while, and then he did a little bit more later, like 11 midnight. Um, so that was very pleasant. I anticipated it, anytime. Like I did the Jimbo Bimbo Poopies video the other day, and I anytime that I call him out or talk about reality, or basically call a spade, there's always going to be backlash. He's always going to do something disgusting and abusive and over the top. So I mean, I live in a constant state of PTSD, so I just put my head down and get through it. I'm used to it. I'm going to need so much trauma therapy when this is over. So, yeah, I guess that's it for today. I don't know when I'm going to do my next daily diary, but it'll be soon. Okay, bye bye. Love you.